Hello and welcome to ELA Explained. In this video, we'll begin exploring literary archetypes. This is a topic that requires a lot of examples, which is why I have divided it into 5 parts. In this first part, I'll introduce what archetypes are, their history, their functions, and some of the main issues related to archetypal literary criticism. The following 4 videos will examine specific examples of archetypes based on different categories. So, what is an archetype? The word archetype comes from Greek and literally means the original form or the first pattern. In literature, an archetype is a symbol, theme, setting, or character type that appears so frequently across different times and cultures that it seems to embody some essential element of universal human experience. In other words, it's a recurring pattern that readers can easily recognize. We will look at specific archetypes soon, but for now, a good example would be the idea of the descent into the underworld. We see this archetype in ancient Greek mythology, when Orpheus travels to Hades to bring back his beloved Eurydice. We see it in Japanese mythology, when Izanagi descends into the underworld to bring back his wife Izanami. We see it in Dante's Divine Comedy, where the poet journeys through the underworld as part of his spiritual and moral quest. We see it in the Chinese epic Journey to the West, where Sun Wukong enters the underworld and erases his and his friends' names from the Book of Life and Death. We see it in the Korean myth of Princess Bari, who is abandoned in birth but later journeys to the underworld to retrieve the water of life and save her dying parents. And we see it in The Time Machine by Wells, where the time traveler descends into the realm of the Morlocks. These stories come from different times and cultures. While they differ in many significant ways, the shared pattern, a character descending into the underworld to retrieve or achieve something, is easy to recognize. But why do these patterns appear so frequently across different cultures? Scholars have proposed multiple explanations. The concept of archetypes developed gradually with 3 key contributors: James George Frazer, Carl Gustav Jung, or Carl Gustav Jung if you want to sound closer to the original, and Northrop Frye. The British anthropologist James George Frazer studied myths and identified recurrent ritualistic patterns in them, laying the groundwork for comparative mythology. His work showed that similar story structures appear across cultures and times. However, his focus was mainly on mythology rather than literature. The Swiss psychologist Carl Jung proposed that archetypes were universal symbols rooted in the collective unconscious, preserved through ancestral memory, and expressed in myths, dreams, and stories. His work was based in psychology and philosophy rather than literary studies. The Canadian critic Northrop Frye applied archetypes to literary theory and saw them as building blocks of literary works. So, why are archetypes important in literary analysis? They serve several functions. They reflect universal human experiences. They help readers from different backgrounds understand characters and events, and they make it easier to follow a story or even anticipate its direction. That said, a word of caution before we dive into specific examples. It's easy but also dangerous to overgeneralize. If we only focus on similarities between archetypes, we risk ignoring important differences. While patterns may repeat, each narrative has unique features that set it apart. Many modern critics have warned against the reductive nature of applying universal theories like the collective unconscious too rigidly to literature, since such approaches often lack scientific evidence and may overlook the cultural context of a work by assuming the same symbols and meanings apply everywhere. Archetypes are a flexible concept, and there is no single definitive system to categorize them. In the next 4 videos, we'll look at some of the most common archetypes, which I divided into the following categories. Symbols: people, objects, images, words or events that function on both a literal and figurative level, often representing a broader, abstract concept or theme. Themes: the central ideas, messages, or underlying meanings that a literary work explores. Settings: the time and place in which the events of a story occur. These can include not only the physical location, but also the historical period, social context, and atmosphere. Character types: categories or patterns of characters that appear across stories. But for now, thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.